When we talk about realism and naturalism and the movement forward through the 19th century, we have to talk about the advent of the theater director. Theater directors at this time took a stand, made a stand, and what it led to was the focus on the individual director, the unity that can be achieved when the focus of the play comes from the vision of one individual, and that person is the director. This is what we call the unity of production. Everyone involved in the production is unified along one vision, and that vision is the vision of the director. This makes things work very easily. This idea of unity of production was introduced by a German director and opera composer by the name of Richard Wagner. Wagner was, as we know, as I just said, an opera composer, but also a very creative, conscientious, passionate theater artist. Wagner wanted to do away with the normal, usual, traditional orientation of the theater, where you had the pit, the gallery, and then box seats above, reminiscent or what we saw in theater during the Renaissance, where the wealthy had the best seats, those box seats. And then the middle seats were the people with a little more money than the people who were in the pit. Wagner wanted to do away with that orientation inside of a theater, and he created what he called a democratic configuration. With a democratic configuration, the seats in the theater are fanned out. They're all on one level, if it's the floor or the mezzanine above, but they're fanned out from one side of the theater to the other. And we're looking, in this case, in front of us at a proscenium stage. Everybody, because the floor is slightly raked from the rear to the front of the stage, it has a slight incline, or from the front of the stage to the entrance of the theater, there's a slight incline, making it easier for people on the rows behind to see the stage. This created what Wagner considered a more democratic configuration in the theater. The other thing that's important, the other important contribution that Wagner made was that Wagner was the first director to lower the lights above the audience as the lights on the stage came up. This, as according to Wagner, separated the two worlds, the real world being the audience, and the imagined world being what was there on stage. First artist to do this, and this is something we take for granted now because it always happens like this. We always experience that lowering of the lights as soon as the lights come up on stage. The other director that made his presence known during this time was a German by the name of Georg II, the Duke of Saxe-Meiningen. Georg II was very famous for his meticulous control of every aspect of the production, from casting and directing to building the sets, overseeing costumes, everything that had to do with the production, he was in control of. Working with him was intense because rehearsals lasted for a very, very long time. But one thing that Saxe-Meiningen was very famous for was his ability to move people around the stage, creating what we call stage pictures, crowd scenes where everybody was involved in something, creating this tableau, this image that was wonderful to watch, wonderful to see on stage. The first movement that rejected realism was symbolism. The symbolists believe that the human being, man, has the ability to understand things through symbols. We have the power of intuition. We can receive messages through suggestion. Everything does not have to be proven by objective examination. We can understand it. In theater, the symbolists really, or symbolism did not inspire playwrights to create symbolist plays. We see symbolism most often in opera, as well, of course, in music and visual art. But the influence of symbolism can be seen in theater. The notion of images, representation, symbols, communicating ideas. For example, the use of color on stage expresses emotion, can convey theme. It is a powerful tool. But symbolism was the first movement to reject representationalism or realism. By the end of the 19th century, a movement in England called English aestheticism evolved. For the followers of this movement, they had a saying, a slogan, if you will, and it was art for art's sake, art for the sake of art. Art was not intended to inform us or to be a mirror that if we look in the mirror we see ourselves. For this group of people, art needed to be pretty. Art was there to heighten sensuous pleasure. Art was intended to make us feel good, and this was all aspects of art. One of the greatest representatives of this movement was the playwright Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde brought us um, uh, probably the most famous play of the Victorian era, and that was The Importance of Being Earnest. Powerful story, recently performed very well, I might add, over at on the main campus at USC in Columbia. Outstanding production. Oscar Wilde, English playwright.